Good morning, good evening, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you might be doing. We wish to welcome you to the Silverlight Show. The Silverlight shines to illuminate that which lies hidden in darkness. For those of you joining us today, we welcome you in. So I did my semi-monthly check on the Baltic Dry Index. And it turns out that the Baltic Dry Index is at the highest it's been in a couple of years. A few of you are probably wondering what the Baltic Dry Index is. Well, the Baltic Dry Index, BDI as it's sometimes called, is what the price of shipping containers are for shipping dry goods. Now, by dry goods, in this context, it means stuff that has yet to be manufactured. So, steel, for example, rubber, plastic, all those big commodities that need to go onto a container and go somewhere else. So, the Baltic Dry Index is a pretty reliable indicator of the economy. Generally speaking, the Baltic Dry shows you roughly where the economy is going to be in 3 to 6 months, because the containers are going to wind up going on ships, and ships and containers are expensive. Well, containers aren't expensive, but sending them places is expensive. But I started to wonder about this. I've worked in logistics and transportation and all that field for over 2 decades. And I've watched this index very carefully. This is normally the point you would get a spike because people are planning for Christmas. All their toys and stuff like that, all the stuff they want to be manufactured, they're projecting ahead of time right now. So this is normally a good idea to get a sense of what things are going to be like at Christmas. Last year, there was a spike about this time. But this one I'm not trusting so much. There's just something about it that rubs me the wrong way. There's something about it that sticks in my craw. We've just come off a year and a half pandemic. And if the numbers are anything to go by, we're going into another one. Remember the industries that were most severely hit by the pandemic: the airline industry and the shipping industry. So airplanes and boats. Airplanes and boats are expensive to keep sitting and lying around. So I'm wondering if the Baltic Dry Index is not being artificially inflated. You see, over the past couple of years, container lines haven't had the same volume of freight, so they haven't needed as much ships. It takes about 2 years to launch a ship in general. From design to construction to having it out on the water, it's 2 years really from the point that you have a worker start welding the first supports till you throw it out at sea. They've had a chance to get rid of some old clunkers, and trust me, there's 40, 50-year-old ships that are out there, and even older than that. Anything that can hold freight can still be profitable. But, as in any other industry, when things are down, they can mothball those old ships. And when profits start to go up again, they can start building new ships. That's kind of the way transportation works. You buy new. You let the old stuff go. You lease it out to a third party or somebody who's not quite as rich as you. So your big people like your Zim, your Hapag-Lloyd, your Maersk, those people are very, very, very content to let the big ships do all the work and let the little ones sit, be sold, or just be scrapped. After all, if it only takes 2 years to get in another wave of ships, it makes a lot more sense to get rid of your old junk than it does to actually sit on resources that are just going to spoil and are just... Remember, ships are not like planes. If you park a plane, you can put it somewhere protected, and it's pretty much taken care of. It does need some maintenance, but overall, that's pretty much everything. A ship needs constant maintenance. It's not just getting the barnacles off of it, but you're always fighting your rust. You got to get it repainted. There's work to be done on the engines. There's always work to be done on a boat. That's why boats have big crews. You can automate a ship very simply. And that's something that most of the navies of the world are doing, whether they're public or private. So the fact is, even with these giant ships being mostly automated, they still need maintenance. And that maintenance adds up. It doesn't make sense to have a ship sit around, so you're going to tend to get rid of it. So when I see this spike in the Baltic Dry, I'm thinking it's because of a reduced capacity on the lines rather than an increased amount of freight. After all, there's two ways to raise your prices legitimately. Either having way more business than you're ready to deal with, or there not being enough capacity for the business you deal with. Let's use an example. If you're an auto parts repair shop, and there's a recall, you can kind of pick and choose your business because the recall business is guaranteed. You know you're going to be making $500 a car from the manufacturer, and there's going to be, 50 cars, 100 cars coming in just from your clients, plus whatever business you can drum up, because there's that supply. So you can be picky about how much of that business you want and how much you want to give to somebody else. Or when everybody's got reduced capacity, again, let's pretend you're the same auto repair shop, and instead of 5 mechanics, you only have 3 mechanics. You have to turn business away. This means the repair shop down the street can raise its prices because they're taking business that you didn't want. And in return, you can raise your prices. It's all a sneaky way to manipulate the market, and it's nothing new. Believe me, the agricultural industry has been doing this for years. They've been buying wheat, sending it overseas, just so that way they can keep the prices artificially high. The transportation industry does it. Heck, I don't know an industry that doesn't do it. The financial industry is awash in this. I mean, they're constantly inflating the price of products. Pump and dump, as the expression goes. Pump it up, make it look like there's not much around, and then sell that product back onto the market a bit at a time. This is why normally I'd be looking at the Baltic Dry Index and celebrating. As I said, with over 20 years in logistics, normally I'd be celebrating right now and saying, hey, this is a great time to reach out, pad up my resume, and see if I can't get another sweet, sweet paycheck and rebuild another business from the ground up. But once you look into the numbers, it looks really, really sketchy. So, if this is the precursor to the Christmas rush, and it's more expensive to get raw materials from part A to point B, and fewer materials are being shipped on fewer vessels, that means the economy is artificially being throttled. And that means, without more government bailouts, private industry is simply not going to be interested in manufacturing what they have. They're going to be showing a loss, but it's going to be hidden because they're going to have less expenses. Remember what I said the other day? It's all about showing growth over last year. And you can point to any statistic and say that's growth. So if you can manage your expenses, say that they're lower because you don't have 3 of the old ships that needed extra maintenance, you can still see, see, we've lowered our maintenance costs. The Baltic Dry Index is something that I think everybody should pay attention to. Like I said, it is crucial to the economy. All the things that get made into things go there. Like right now we're looking at somebody's roof. That asphalt at some point was on a container. The vent in it, that little white piece of stuff on it, that's called a roof vent. Well, the steel that got made into it was at some point on a container on a ship moving from point A to point B. The aluminum siding, guess where it came from? It came from a container. As the old saying goes, everything is delivered by truck sooner or later. And you know what? Stuff gets delivered to truck by containers. So if you work in the medical industry, in the pharmaceutical industry, In any industry, you owe your life to those containers. But if there's fewer ships out there, it would look exactly like what we're seeing now. And despite the fact of there being so many places shut down, you can make the prices look good. You can make it look like things are being successful and everybody was happy. And that's what I'm thinking is going on right now. Who stands to profit? Anybody that's not making a normal salary. Anybody whose title ends in CEO, CFO, anybody like that, they all stand to profit from it. And once again, the old expression holds true: follow the money. The money here looks fantastic on the surface. You have to learn to dig a little deeper. Learn about the Baltic Dry Index, learn how it can influence your life, and learn how to read it carefully. Because like I said, I was excited to see it go up. I was really looking forward to that, saying there's got to be a lot of freight out there. But then I looked on the link, I looked on a couple other places, and the freight prices were still terrible. So I know something is wrong. What's wrong is there's just simply not that many ships out there. And there won't be for a couple of years. We're looking forward to a period of inflated numbers and deflated expectations. Something for you to consider. We wish to thank you for listening to the Silverlight Show. This was a shorter episode, but at the same token, something I wanted to get off my chest. But no matter what, we hope you have a fantastic day.